Imagine a lavish estate, music echoing off marble walls, socialites swirling champagne beside a glistening pool, when suddenly the laughter dies. A millionaire's disabled daughter slips beneath the surface. Cameras roll. Influencers freeze. No one moves, except one boy, a janitor's son, a name no one remembers, until today. What he does next shocks the entire crowd and changes everything. Stay till the end, because this story holds a twist you won't see coming. And if you believe heroes come from the unlikeliest places, hit that subscribe button now and share this with someone who needs hope. Because this is about to get real. The sun was high and blazing over the sprawling lawns of the Kensington estate, where the wealthy Carmichael family was throwing the party of the season, an opulent garden affair filled with politicians, actors, tech CEOs, and aristocrats sipping on imported champagne beside a pool that shimmered like a glass jewel. The Carmichaels were a household name in the USA and UK, revered for their billion-dollar corporate empire and known for their philanthropic foundation, though few people ever saw the youngest member of the family, Lillian Carmichael, a 12-year-old girl born with cerebral palsy, confined to a wheelchair, and hidden more than she was embraced. Lillian was kind-hearted, artistic, and curious beyond measure, but she was often kept inside the mansion, away from the cameras, the guests, and the whispers. That day, however, she had begged to join the celebration outside, dressed in a sunflower yellow, dress that matched the summer light. The staff had hesitated, but her mother, Geneva Carmichael, unusually distracted by her social responsibilities, allowed it just once. The janitor's son, Isaiah Bennett, 15 years old, tall, lanky, and polite with wide eyes that saw more than he let on, was helping his father pick up empty glasses when he noticed Lillian by the pool, unattended. Isaiah had always been told not to engage too much with the guests, to stay in the background like his father had for 22 years. But when he saw Lillian trying to lean over to touch the glimmering water with her fingers, something told him to stay close. Seconds later, her wheelchair jerked. A tiny wheel nudged off the stone edge, and before anyone could blink, the chair flipped, and Lillian fell silently into the water. Time froze. The music kept playing, the guests froze mid-sip, and phones came out, not to help, but to record. A helpless disabled child was drowning in front of hundreds. No one moved. Not the lifeguard hired for optics, not the security staff in black suits, not even Geneva, who dropped her glass and screamed, but stood paralyzed by disbelief and horror. No one moved, except Isaiah. With zero hesitation, Isaiah sprinted past 3 shocked guests, kicked off his sneakers mid-run, and dived fully, clothed into the pool. He wasn't a trained lifeguard, nor a professional swimmer, but he had grown up learning how to swim in the city's public pools and rivers while his dad cleaned nearby. He reached her in seconds, pushing himself down as she sank, her limbs unable to coordinate as bubbles floated to the surface. Underwater, her eyes were wide with terror. Isaiah wrapped his arm around her chest, struggled against the chair straps, and managed to yank her free, just as she began to fade. With everything he had, he pulled her to the surface and lifted her out of the water onto the pool edge, shouting for help. Still, no one came. He performed CPR, which he had learned from, watching YouTube videos and practicing on dummies in school. Chest compressions, breaths, again. Nothing. Then suddenly a sputter, a cough, water, tears. Lillian gasped back to life. Only then did people rush forward, camera phones still rolling, some crying, others just murmuring. The security guard finally reacted, ushering people away, and Geneva collapsed next to her daughter, sobbing uncontrollably. But none of it mattered to Isaiah in that moment. He sat on the ground, dripping, exhausted, and shaking. The paramedics arrived. Lillian was going to be okay. But the world was about to explode. The video hit social media within hours. Disabled. Girl drowns while guests watch. Only janitor's son saves her. read the first headline. By morning, Hero Janitor Kid was trending across platforms in the US and UK, with millions watching the footage of a boy from nowhere saving a billionaire's daughter. People demanded answers. Why didn't anyone help? Why was a child in a wheelchair left alone? Why did only a poor black teen act? The questions turned into protests of the elite's apathy. Isaiah Bennett went from invisible to unforgettable. He was invited onto talk shows. Interviews flooded in. But the Carmichaels weren't thrilled. Geneva was mortified that her inaction went viral. Thomas Carmichael, her husband and CEO of Carmichael Global, called Isaiah's father into his office the next week, not to reward him, but to offer hush money. You saved our daughter. We'll take care of you. But we need you and your boy to avoid the press. Sign this NDA. We'll transfer funds. But Mr. Bennett refused. My son didn't save her for money. He did it because it was right. That night, Thomas fired him. The same day, news leaked that Isaiah's dad was let go after the rescue. Outrage exploded. Celebrities tweeted, in Isaiah's defense. An anonymous donor paid for Isaiah's father to file a lawsuit for wrongful termination. But the biggest twist came when Lillian herself posted a video, one she recorded on her iPad while recovering. She called Isaiah her best friend, revealed that he had helped her secretly practice swimming before that day, and shared that he was the only person on the estate who treated her like a human being. The video shattered the internet. Viewers sobbed as she cried, Isaiah didn't just save me from drowning, he saved me from being invisible. The public's empathy became a movement. Donations poured into a fund started by Isaiah's former school principal to support underprivileged youth who wanted to pursue emergency medical training. Isaiah was offered a full scholarship to a top prep school and later to a medical university. But still, the Carmichaels fought to salvage their reputation. Geneva tried to shift blame to a staff member. The security team was replaced. The PR firm issued apologies, but it was too late. Carmichael's stock dropped. Their name now came with a stigma. Meanwhile, Isaiah's world changed. The boy who once cleaned floors now sat on stages alongside world leaders, sharing what it meant to be brave when no one else moved. Years later, Isaiah stood at a podium as valedictorian of his class, and in the crowd sat Lillian, older, stronger, and walking with the help of braces, clapping with all her might. They told me to stay in my place, Isaiah said that day, but the water doesn't care about status. It only cares if you care enough to dive in. The crowd stood, cameras flashed, and history remembered him, not as a janitor's son, but as a boy who didn't wait to be told to act. He just did, and that made all the difference.